today, and it was a good clue to her mentality. She said it feels like a cross-country day. The wind's blowing. She's used to running in the park. She's used to running cross-countries here too. She knows that she loves cross-country running. If you get an athlete coming into an event with a psychological hit which says, I really fancy this today, it's a kind of cross-country weather, I feel good in this environment, then sometimes that's how athletes respond. They are sometimes fickle beings, and sometimes it's just a little bit of a spur that they need. But Gemma Steele on the outside of Great Britain leading. Alongside her, Straneo, the Italian marathon runner, and Fanula taking up a good position, and alongside her, Aguirre, another marathon runner who Fanula ran against in the European Marathon Championships. So she's got company around her. She knows the company well. It's going to be a competitive race, you can tell. But Gemma Steele, who ran so well in the World Cross Country a few weeks ago, which Fanula didn't attend, beginning to press on, beginning to start to make her presence felt. And she always likes to be near the front. She always likes to be leading. She's a very good athlete on the road. She's a very good athlete on the country. She's less distinguished on the track. And she feels her future career, like Fanula Britain, is at the marathon.
Aguilar there of Spain was 5th at the European Championship Marathon in 2010. Tall figure of Lizzie Lee, 4th scorer for the Irish team that won the gold medal at the European Cross Country Championship in 2012. And just moving along outside the shoulder of Aguilar, Fanula Britain well placed in there between Steele and Straneo. Well, of course, this is also a championship, the 10K championship, the national 10K championship, and the Great Ireland Run, all rolled into one, and there will be an Irish champion at the end of this. And of course, the runners from every county in the country competing here for the inter-county challenge as well.
And when we look down the field, we'll see all the colours of those famous counties that we see all the year round being carried confidently and proudly by lots of these athletes. At the front end, we're talking about international athletes. Middle of the field, we're talking about national class athletes. And lower down the field, we're talking about people who are looking at this as a challenge, something they want to do for their own reasons, some of them to get fit, some of them to run as fast as they've done before, others just to prove to people that they can get around, and many, many others running for charity. But at this end, there's a close field. There's 7 athletes in that leading group, and you would sense already that that's where the winner is going to come from. Spread across the field, and you can tell nobody's making a real initiative yet because the field is strung out rather than gaps between them. But if you're a sensible athlete, you'll shelter just where Fanula is, just behind on the shoulder of Gemma Steele, just getting the wind coming from the side, and she's sheltering away from that. Straneo is a committed front runner, as we saw in the European cross country and in the World Championships, silver medalist in the World Championships. And Valeria Straneo has had a really tough time in the last few years. She was in 2010, not sure why she was running badly. She went into hospital and had some serious illness. She had to have her spleen removed, and eventually she came back. She said, I'm not going to run seriously anymore, I'm just going to be a jogger. And she ran back, came back, started jogging, started running better, and after having her spleen removed, she actually started running better than she'd ever done before. So she was really ill about 3 or 4 years ago, and here we are seeing her coming back. 2 medals in the recent championships. Her record, the marathon and the major championships, is fantastic. In 2012 in the Olympics, she was 8th. In the World Championships in 2013, she was 2nd. And in the European Championships last year in Zurich, she was 2nd again. So there's not many athletes got a better international record in major championship marathons in recent times than Valeria Straneo. On the outside, the Italian athlete in the burgundy coloured vest, right next to her, there's Gemma Steele. Aguirre, another athlete who's 5th in the European cross-country championships. Then Lizzie Lee from Ireland, and behind those, sheltering in there nicely, is Fanula Britain.
This group has just moved through the first K as the leading group, as 1,000 meters up the road ahead of them. And Aguilar has just eased herself slightly in front. This group of 7 have detached themselves from the rest and are opening up quite a sizable gap at this early stage in the event.
Phoenix Park looking beautiful. This is a must-visit place when anyone comes to Dublin. You've got to come to the Phoenix Park. One of the biggest, most beautiful parks in the whole of Europe. Yeah, used for many things: cycling, running, exercising. There's cricket fields. It's absolutely wonderful, kept in fantastic order by the Office of Public Works, and you can see the loving care and attention that goes to it. And this week in the park, the weather's been glorious, and this park has been a heavenly place to be, as Aguirre, the Spanish athlete, comes sharply into that corner and suddenly starts to make a bit of an effort. That's an opening effort by Aguirre. Straneo follows her. Fionnuala Britton responds, and for once Gemma Steele's caught unawares there and just drifting off the back of that group. That's an interesting move by the Spanish athlete. A very good athlete in her own right. She knows exactly what she's doing. She was 3rd in this race last year, so she knows the course as well, which is an advantage. Obviously Fionnuala knows the course well, but Fionnuala responding quickly, and you can look at her concentration on the eyes, looking ahead onto the back of Aguirre and just doing enough to settle in there.
Approaching the 3,000 meter mark, and it's this group of 7 still. And Britain has been where she's been throughout, just behind the leader. It's moving smoothly. Lizzie Lee on the left there in the sunglasses. Straneo, the headband. Britain still in 2nd place. The other 2 just past the 3K mark. The other 2 in there. Dominika Nowakowska of Poland. And the other one just making up that leading group, Jess Coulson from Stockport, Cheshire. Britain still 2nd to Aguirre. Lizzie Lee tracking along on the outside there. And from the very outset, we've really seen the determination of this group to detach themselves, and even at this early stage, it's safe to say we're looking at the winner in this group. Eleanor Davis, one of the British runners, is some way back now. Back at the start, the elite men preparing for their entry. And there's a little treat for the fans down there as well that we might get a chance to enjoy. "41 million people have watched the YouTube video of a gentleman who's just begun to sing for the crowd. You might even have seen it yourself. There was a wedding in Oldcastle in County Meath last year of Chris and Leah O'Kane, and Father Ray Kelly, the celebrant, the Mass, he sang Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen's song, to the bride and groom. And now for the crowd here, he's singing the song that won the Eurovision Song Contest here in Dublin in 1997, Love, Shine a Light. Katrina and the Waves, the group who composed the song in recognition of the 30th anniversary of the Samaritans in 1983, and 14 years later they sang it to success in the Eurovision, and Father Ray Kelly is giving it to the crowd now. Shine, love, shine a light. They never thought when they came to the park this morning they'd be hearing the singing priest. The AAI Championship being run by the women, who are, I think, probably out of earshot of the singing. They've got their own personal challenges to overcome on this. And there's the leading group again, and Gemma Steele has come forward again to join Aguilar. Lizzie Lee running a good race just on the edge of that group there. They seem to have dropped Jess Coulson now. They're down to just the 6. Jess Coulson struggling a bit at the back. Gemma Steele, Aguilar, Straneo, Fionnuala Britton. Now there's Jess Coulson, who's just become a little detached. Under 23 cross-country champion of Europe. And talking of singing, she said when she was winning that title that she felt so good on the way to the finishing line of the tape of the championship. She was singing to herself as she ran.
Well, I can still, in the commentary box here, we can still hear the singing priest, Father Ray Kelly, entertaining the runners as they set off on their journey. And at this point, just approaching the halfway point, Aguilar from Spain, desperately keen to be in the lead, putting a little bit of pressure on Fionnuala Britton. I think the pace has picked up a little here. Gemma Steele taking closer order there. Straneo settling behind the two of them. And this is a slight downhill part of the course before they climb into the second half. The second half of this course is more demanding than the first part. And they all know it now. All of these athletes have been on this course. They've all seen it. They've all checked it out. Gemma Steele's run here 3 times. She's been first and twice second. So we expect Gemma Steele to be on the podium. She knows this part, and her on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side of that group is Fionnuala Britton. These athletes who love cross-country running, they love the idea of running ups and downs. And here's a real down before they start climbing again. Aguilar and Straneo, the 2 marathon runners, lead at almost the halfway point.
Well, now, of course, we're approaching start time for the men, and